The approach I'm talking about today was key in helping me go from this painting to this painting. The way that we see is so important when it comes to painting. The way that we look at our reference photo affects every part of how we paint the scene. Today, I'm going to show you a simple and repeatable approach to your reference photo that can make a massive difference in your painting. When we look at our reference photos, it can be overwhelming. We are taking in so much information all at once. We are thinking about color, about value, about shapes, about composition. There's so many things to think about. One of the best things that we can do is to turn our reference photos black and white. Stay tuned till the end. I'm going to show you a very practical tip how I use this approach in each of my paintings. I'm going to take away the color, and automatically things become a lot more clear. One of the best things that this does, turning our reference photo black and white, is it changes the conversation in your mind from what color is this to how light or how dark is this. When we remove color from the photo, we remove distractions. We no longer are asking ourselves, how do I mix this color? The second thing that this helps with is seeing more clearly the pattern of light and dark. So when I look at this reference photo here, I can see automatically the sky is darker than some of these white areas down here. I can see that the value of this shadow here is pretty close to the value in the grass and the value of these trees. So right away, I can see lights, middle values, and darks more clearly, and I can also start to see the connections between those values, and that's really important, seeing those connections. And the third thing that this does by looking at the reference photo black and white is we are training our minds and our eyes to see shapes and not objects. One of the hangups we have as human beings is when we see things, we want to name things. This is a tree, this is a lamppost. But when we can take color away and even squint a little bit, we can start to think of those things just as shapes. And a good thing happens when we do that. We have preconceived notions of the shape of things and the color of things. If we can take away the color information, we can see things more clearly as they are. When we can start to think in this way, we can come up with a solid plan to paint the scene in layers. I see in beginners, and when I first started painting, I want to look at the scene and just paint it as is, rather than have a methodical approach to lay in the light values, the middle values, and then the darks and the details. So by turning this black and white, I was able to see this complex scene even more clear. And that helped me approach the scene with a clear process. Okay, if I'm painting the light values first, what of this information lands in the light values for my process? So that would be obviously these really light areas. That would be the sky. That would be the light areas of the path, some of the light areas on the boat. And here is what that looks like. So this is me laying in all the light values of the scene. And one thing that's important to remember is even within each of those, within the lights, the middle values, and the darks, there's going to be a range. So if you were to take my course Watercolor Essentials, you would have these broken up into steps with values from a range of 1 to 10. The first wash would be 0 through 3 values. So this is all the 0 through 3 values within that scene. So after I lay that in, I can look and see, okay, what are the middle values in this scene? So that would be this building over here into this shape, and I can squint and see this as a shape rather than all of these complicated objects back here, right? That's a big advantage of this process, is to just eliminate unnecessary detail. So I can group those things together and essentially make all of this one shape, make the shadows one shape connected into the grass over here, connected into the trees, try to paint all the middle values as connected as I possibly can. And that is what this looks like. So this approach is the middle values over here, simplifying that shape, moving into here, connecting the shadows right into the similar values, sweeping that over here, and connecting this over to here. That's the middle values of the scene. So after that, I can look at my reference photo and I can see, okay, I need some dark here. I need some details in the middle ground of the painting to bring some order to that area. Here is what that looked like. So I've added in the darks and the details into the scene. I've polished up the figure and added enough information here in the middle ground to carry the painting. By looking at this photo black and white and breaking this up into stages, I can build up this scene in layers. The lights, the middle values over that, and then finally the darks and the details. Let's take a look at one more scene. So here's a reference photo. There's a lot of information here. Let me go ahead and turn it black and white. I notice that I'm not getting so much caught up here and here with these colors and trying to determine what color everything is. I can simply look at this value versus the background. This is a little bit lighter than this building. I see a connected shape of the shadow into this building here. I can start to see those things so much better when I take away the color from the picture. And then I can think about my approach. What do I need to paint within the light areas? So the sky, the light here, the light on the road, some of the light on the car, all of those things. And that's what this wash is. This is the lightest values of the scene. Then I can go in, look at the reference photo. What are the middle values here? I see this building into here. I see the shadows. I see the middle value of this against the sky. And then I paint that, this big connected shape. See the big shadow shape into the building, into the trees over here. Then I can go back to the reference. What darks and details are needed? I know I need some dark here. I need a few more details on the car. I need some details up here on the buildings. And then I add in my details. So I added in this area here, this figure here, details on the car, and that's the approach. So we have lights, middle values, and then our darks and our details. And all of that is possible because I'm taking away the color, I'm looking at the reference photo, and I'm thinking clearly about the values of the scene. I want to show you next how I practically do this when I paint. We want to see our reference photo black and white to get a handle on the values, but we also need to reference color alongside this. So I use an iPad to reference my photos when I paint, and it sits up here on a stand. When I'm painting a scene, I'll have my reference photo pulled up. But I don't just look at a full color version of the reference photo. Another thing I do is I will duplicate the photo. So I have two copies, one here and one here. Then I will take one of them. I will go into here, and then I come down here to saturation and I take the color away, and then I have a nice black and white version of that image. And I can look at this to make a value study, or if I'm just unclear about what value is lighter, what value is darker, this is a very helpful way to look at the scene in that way. And then because I have a duplicated version, I can just flip over to the color version. And this is really helpful, especially when I'm painting that middle value connected shape and I'm trying to see those connections. Even within the painting process, I can have my color version and my black and white version right here to switch in between back and forth as I need to. So the next time you sit down to paint, take a look at your reference photo, turn it black and white, and start to think more about the lights, the middle values, and the darks, and less about color and detail. This approach takes practice, but it will pay off. And looking at your photos black and white are a big step in the right direction to be thinking the right way about values. I hope you enjoyed this look into my process today. If you have questions about the way that I paint, and want to know more about my process, take a look at this. Have you ever been really excited about a painting and you get all set up, you find that right reference that you're excited about, and then it's time to go and you feel lost? I have a free resource that I want to give to you today that can help with these problems. My 5 steps to plan a successful watercolor painting. I walk you through the crucial planning phase of your painting that will help you understand what you're going to paint first, second, and third The planning is really so important, especially in watercolor. This medium is harder to correct. It's so immediate. So having that plan is very important. I send you a PDF that you can download. And the great thing about this is you can have it on your phone. You could print it out. You can download this right now before you start your next painting. All you have to do is follow this link here and download my 5-step guide to planning a successful watercolor painting.